So I'm just sort of looking at some real world examples of when ethics and AI has gone wrong. Have you got any sort of examples to share of where ethics and AI has gone wrong in the past, in sort of the real world?
Yeah, Ruan, so I think, again, that facial recognition example, I think, is a good one. I think a lot of, for instance, financial services and insurance organizations are utilizing automated decisioning systems. And again, the potential benefits there from an accuracy and a speed point of view are vast. But let's think of the idea of a family. So if we want the automated decisioning to determine what kind of insurance, what kind of credit, or for that matter, healthcare to grant to a family. So my view of a family is a man, a woman, and a child or children, but it's a very limited view. Because a family can also be a single parent, it can be a same-sex couple, it can be a couple without children, and so forth. But I mean, if I built a system, it would have reflected my view, relevant view, but limited view. And I often say we need a team of people with different sexual orientations, different ethnicities, different genders, different age groups to build these models, because inevitably, even though many of us don't mean it badly, it will reflect our biases. And there's been many examples, and I can't think of all of them. Maybe you have some of them, but especially when it comes to the access of healthcare, of finance, credit, and the like, we've seen it. And this is more scary if we think of the weaponization of AI through drones. I mean, if a drone needs to recognize a terrorist or an enemy's face, what if that is done incorrectly? And the scary thing here is typically we want a drone to recognize an enemy, send that information to a human commander, a soldier, and that human will make the kill decision, launching the missile. But there's a lot of evidence, and particularly in the Ukraine at the moment, from both sides, that the kill decision has been automated. The algorithm decides to launch the missile, not a human. Now, for instance, if that terrorist is a real terrorist that you want to kill, but he or she is walking with a 3-year-old child next to him or her, most humans will say, we can't launch the missile now. Will the AI do the same? That is scary. So I think, weaponization is quite a real world example. Think of if a drone flies into a building and causes damage to the building, or hurts a person or kills a person. Who is responsible? We don't know, because the case law is lacking across the world. Is it the manufacturer of the airplane? Is it the people who designed the algorithms? Is it the pilot who flew the drone? We don't know. And if a bank uses a chatbot or a conversational AI to provide financial advice, and the advice is wrong, and there are damages suffered, who do we hold into account? And I recently did some training with one of our large banks and their legal team, and they're grappling with this because, again, there's no case law. And you made an interesting point about innovation and regulation earlier on, and that's the challenge, especially in a highly regulated industry like financial services, because regulation has always followed somewhat behind innovation. But how do we accurately and sufficiently regulate this new wave of technology without stifling innovation? That is a difficult conversation. But as long as we are aware of it and grapple with it, even though regulatory frameworks don't exist, and maybe just to conclude on this point, I think, and I'm seeing this more and more, that organizations like banks, insurance companies, telcos, and others are creating their own internal regulatory frameworks from a responsible AI point of view and the like, because they can't, especially in our country, look to government to provide that framework. So we have to almost do it ourselves, which is not a bad start, but it's not really nationally enforceable from a legal point of view.
I think it's fascinating. One example about the drones you mentioned making decisions to kill or not, recognizing the terrorist. I think it comes back to that trolley problem, which is sort of a familiar problem in the sort of AI space about what decisions do you make and what would a human do in that case. And I think it sort of leads into the next question around sort of what's going to happen in the next 5 years with ethics and AI. I almost imagine we will have AIs judging other AIs because